The International Monetary Fund says the global economy is on course for a stronger than expected recovery this year and next. The IMF says many economies proved to be resilient despite the consequences of the coronavirus pandemic and geopolitical tension.
The boss of Tesla, Elon Musk, has said he'll hold a shareholder vote on moving the electric car company's American state of incorporation to Texas. A judge in Delaware had ruled that Mr. Musk's $56 billion pay package from 2018 was invalid.
The social media platform Facebook is marking its 20th anniversary today. It has grown from a network for Harvard University students to one of the biggest online platforms in the world, but has come under increased pressure from regulators and rival companies.
Voters in Paris have approved a plan to triple parking fees for people from outside the city driving SUVs in the French capital. The referendum is part of the mayor's drive to make the streets of Paris safer and greener.
Buckingham Palace has announced that King Charles is being treated for cancer. In a statement, the palace said the king remained wholly positive about his treatment and that he looked forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. A spokesperson has not revealed what type of disease the king has, but said it was not prostate cancer.
The U.S. National Transport Safety Board says a door panel which blew off a Boeing 737 MAX shortly after takeoff last month appeared to be missing 4 bolts. Since the incident, loose bolts have been found in similar locations on other planes.
President Yoon Suk-yeol of South Korea has defended his wife after she accepted an expensive Dior handbag from a visitor. Mr. Yoon said the First Lady had been unable to cold-heartedly turn the visitor away.
In football, the hosts Qatar have won the Asian Cup. The reigning champions beat the underdogs Jordan by 3-1. They defended their title with a remarkable hat-trick of penalties by Akram Afif, which also made him the tournament's top scorer.
Police in India have imposed a month-long ban on public gatherings in Delhi ahead of a planned march on the capital by thousands of farmers. They say the demonstration poses a significant threat to public safety.
The Indian government says it won't rush through a law guaranteeing minimum crop prices without consulting all stakeholders. The statement came as a protest march of thousands of farmers moved towards Delhi.
President Biden has forcefully denounced comments by his predecessor Donald Trump, who said he'd encourage Russia to invade NATO allies that didn't spend enough on defence. President Biden said the remarks were shameful, dangerous and un-American.
Vladimir Putin has said he would rather work with Joe Biden than Donald Trump after the U.S. presidential election in November. The Russian leader said Mr. Biden was more experienced and predictable.
South Korea's Prime Minister is pleading with hundreds of trainee doctors not to go ahead with their plan to quit the profession. More than 700 doctors have said they will resign in protest against plans to increase admissions to medical schools.
Oppenheimer, the 3-hour epic about the making of the atomic bomb, has won the prize for Best Film at the British Film Awards in London. The movie scooped 7 BAFTAs, including Best Director and Best Actor.
The family of a South Korean man forced to work for a Japanese company during the Second World War has received compensation. The $45,000 is thought to be the first ever payment of its kind.
The London-based bank, HSBC, has announced record profits of more than $30 billion in 2023. The huge increase of nearly 80% on the previous 12 months is mostly due to higher interest rates.
China has signed agreements to send pandas to a zoo in San Diego on the US West Coast, signalling a new chapter in Beijing's use of so-called panda diplomacy. For decades, China has loaned its native bears to live in zoos in countries where it hopes to improve or reaffirm relations.
There have been further Russian attacks on Ukrainian cities as Kyiv marks the second anniversary of President Putin's full-scale invasion. A BBC correspondent says the mood is bleaker than a year ago, with Kyiv losing territory and military aid being delayed. There have been tributes from world leaders, but President Zelensky says what's really needed is more weapons.
The South Korean government has threatened to punish doctors who've been on strike now for a week unless they return to work by Thursday. A health minister said they could be suspended for 3 months.
The last barrier to Sweden becoming a member of NATO has been lifted, with Hungary finally giving its approval after a delay of more than a year. All 30 other members of the military alliance had already ratified the move.
The South Korean government says its birth rate has fallen to a record low, despite it having spent billions on initiatives to encourage women to have more children. The country's birth rate, or number of children a woman is expected to have in her lifetime, dropped to 0.72 last year.
시청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다.